No. It's leaving. We're gonna take a break. Take a break and after the carbides. But the whole road's like that. It's unbelievable. They are hot. I asked them,
You have to work hard.
I'm getting shit beat.
It's a strange. One of our employees is an election.
Try they have us use Chrome on here because Chrome has got quite a reputation.
No.
They use Chrome
Long,
for the
long day.
WordPress or for the
I was there.
whatever search thing. And they have a reputation for a lot of
We had the one that, you know, we were going to lie and I was seeing.
some places that guessing don't even use it.
I was thinking of voting early last year and then I saw that.
Because I went
I'll just go to the link. It's just never a lot.
We have a couple townships where you can vote.
Yeah.
Three of them.
Yeah.
You do.
And they just don't,
Like you're.
don't, you know.
Wow.
It's like,
You get a call from us. It would be a quick conversation.
Yeah.
You lost your mind.
okay, I always have to, don't laugh.
Just moving my water out of the way so I can smack that.
Put your,
Are they the expensive ones?
Put your hand right. To me, yes.
I know I have a $7.99 pair. My favorite.
They are the best, aren't they?
I can't sit there either. All right.
IT, are you ready?
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Candioi County Board of Commissioners meeting for Tuesday, November 4th, 2025. Please stand for the pledge. I want to welcome everybody who's in the room today and also the folks who are catching us on YouTube. We are going to go through the approval of the agenda and the consent agenda briefly, and then we will recess this meeting and we will reconvene as the Drainage Authority for a public hearing there. At this time, would anyone like to move approval of the agenda?
I move to approve the agenda.
Commissioner Dwayne Anderson moves. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Commissioner Dale Anderson seconds. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. The consent agenda today consists of the approval of the October 21st, 2025 County Board legal minutes, approval of the auditor's warrants and claims, cancellation of Human Services stale dated warrants, and contract for public safety answering point PSAP services for Big Stone County. Would any commissioners wish to remove any of these items from the consent agenda?
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve the consent agenda as presented.
I'll second that.
Thank you. Commissioner Berg moves, Commissioner Mdek seconds. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. At this time, we will recess the Candioi County Board of Commissioners meeting, and we will convene as the Drainage Authority for County Ditch 20. This is a public hearing, and I'd like to welcome everybody who is here for the hearing today. The purpose of our hearing is to receive comments and testimony from all parties interested in the proposed project to impound, reroute, and divert County Ditch 20 waters in the northeast quarter of Section 28 Irving Township in Candy, Ohio County. This is an evidentiary proceeding, and notes are being taken to preserve the record. The order of business for this hearing will be as follows. First, Austin Hillbrands, the county's drainage manager, will explain the process which has brought us to this public hearing and the purpose of this hearing. Mr. Hillbrands will submit for the record the evidence of notice provided for today's hearing. Following Mr. Hillbrands, engineer Nick Wires with Stantec will present the petitioned project and the engineer's report of the petition to impound, reroute, and divert of County Ditch 20. Following Mr. Wires' presentation, I will open the hearing for public comment. The board would like to hear your comments on the proposed action and any information relevant to that purpose. If you would like to make a comment when the public comment period is opened, please raise your hand, come forward, and when I recognize you, please state your name and address for the record. If you have property affected by the proposed project, it will also be helpful for you to identify that property. And if you have a specific question concerning the project or proceedings, we may ask Mr. Johnson, Mr. Wires, or Mr. Hillbrands to respond. If you have anything in writing that you wish to submit, you can provide it to me during the public comment portion of today's hearing. Would any of the board members wish to offer any further remarks before we begin? All right, very good. Then, Mr. Hillbrands, the floor is yours.
Morning, Mr. Chair, board members, Austin Hillbrands, the drainage manager. We received a petition from the Middle Fork of the Crow River Watershed District to replace the outlet and diversion structures on Calhoun Lake with a new rock arch rapids and replace the timber bridge in the northeast quarter of Section 28 Irving Township, Candy County, under Minnesota Statute 103E227. This statute covers petitions to impound, reroute, and divert drainage systems waters. The Drainage Authority met on October 7th, 2025, and approved the draft findings and order receiving the petition and initiating proceedings. To acknowledge the petition, appoint Nick Weirs of Stantec as the engineer for County Ditch 20 and direct the Candy County Auditor Treasurer, upon receipt of the engineer's report, set a date, time, and location for a public hearing on the petition. Engineer Nick Weirs filed an engineer's report of findings with the Candy County Auditor Treasurer on October 22nd, 2025. Upon filing the engineer's report with the Candy County Auditor Treasurer on October 24th, the auditor set November 4th, 2025 at 9 a.m. in the Commissioner's Boardroom of this building as the time and place for public hearing on the petition to impound, reroute, and divert County Ditch 20. The purpose of today's hearing is to hear a presentation on the engineer's report of findings, to hear public comments about the project, and to determine if the project will be a public or private benefit, and that it will not impair the utility of the drainage system or deprive affected landowners of its benefit. The engineer's report can be found on page 23 in your packet. The draft findings order can be found on page 109 in your packet. Notice requirements for this hearing require that we send notice by mail of the time and location of the hearing to the petitioners, owners of property, and political subdivisions likely to be affected by the proposed drainage project. On October 24th, 2025, under the direct supervision of the Candy County Auditor Treasurer, I mailed the hearing notice to the petitioners and all benefited property owners on County Ditch 20, and I have an affidavit of mailing to submit for the record.
Thank you. Do any of the board members have any questions for Mr. Hillbrands? All right, thank you. Then, Mr. Weirs, will you please present your engineer's report on the Middle Fork of the Crow River Watersheds District petition to impound, reroute, and divert County Ditch 20?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair, board members.
Can I see it?
Pull that up. The report in the board packet.
Yes.
In this part?
Oh, can I get that screen from
Can
the?
you pull up his presentation?
Oh, sorry.
Sorry.
Oh.
Yeah, yep. Okay, there you go. All right, perfect. Good morning. Again, my name is Nick Wires with Stantec. I'm here before you to present on the Lake Calhoun Outlet Repair Project. Andy Johnson with Middle Fork Crow, and then Josh and Howard are here with the DNR to assist with any questions you may have as well. So the project is located in Candy, Ojai County, with the Dietrich Lang Wildlife Management Area adjacent to Lake Calhoun. Lake Calhoun, 650 acres with a maximum depth of 13 feet. The Dietrich Lang WMA is 900 acres, and it's also a state waterfowl refuge. Within that area, there's the Crow River Diversion Dam. I don't know if I can, over here, and then we have the Lake Calhoun Outlet Dam. That's the acts as the outlet to Lake Calhoun. Both were built in 1938 and were set with a court-ordered elevation of 1155.29 with the 29 datum. These structures control the water level at Lake Calhoun, the Dietrich Lang WMA, and Green Lake. And this outlet from Green Lake is the Middle Fork Crow River, but it also serves as Candy, Ojai County Ditch 20. Here's an overview of that area where you can see Dietrich Lang WMA is located between Green and Calhoun. The Candy, Ojai County Ditch 20 was petitioned for establishment in 1906 and runs approximately 32,000 feet from Green Lake through the WMA to the boundary of Meeker County. The rechanneling of that natural outlet resulted in the draining of Lake Calhoun, the area that's now the WMA, and Mud Lake. A public sentiment prompted the state to construct the diversion dam and outlet dam in 1938, and a court order set that elevation in 1953. Years of vandalism caused the DNR to permanently set the elevation with welded stop logs that are just hidden below kind of that floating bog that's attached to that in that photo. That elevation was set at an 1155.29 in the NGVD 29 datum. Through this project, we worked with the DNR and Stantec to accurately determine a conversion to the 88 datum. So on the plans and kind of in that report, you'll see both that 1159.29 as well as the 1155.8, which is the elevation in that 88 datum. Just a few more pictures of kind of the existing conditions of the bridge and dam. So this is that outlet, or this is the diversion dam with the bridge over the top of it, just kind of looking at it from downstream. A few more photos of it. This is an upstream photo. And then just looking downstream after we removed some trees last winter. And then we get into the outlet dam for Calhoun Lake there. The outlet dam overflow is set to the same elevation as those diversion stop logs, with the abutments and those piers being higher. I'm just showing that same outlet dam from downstream. There is a low flow pipe with a sluice gate attached to it. And then here, just kind of showing a wider version, right where we'll get into proposed conditions, but where you can see some of these rocks up in this area is where we're going to be working on improving the shoreline fishing. So an overview on rock arch rapids and what they are. This is kind of that simplified version of the rock arch rapids. The DNR has worked on approximately 70 plus locations across the state to replace or partially replace a dam. It's a series of weirs embedded in a base of large rock in an arch configuration with a slope of 3% or less, and each of those weirs will drop less than 0.6 feet. It's tied in downstream, and it's lower in the middle to direct flow towards the center of the channel. Each of those weirs has gaps to allow fish passage, and each of the pools that you can see kind of shown in here are to allow for low flow and they kind of act as a.
Excuse me, so
Yeah.
each drop was 0.6 feet or
It's
6?
0.6 feet
0.6,
is the max that's allowed.
Okay.
So, between each of those weirs, yeah.
I
Yep.
thought I heard 0.6, but then I thought.
Yeah,
was it
yep,
6 feet
nope,
or
good question, thank you.
Thank you.
This example does show it just kind of ramping up from one fixed dam down to that tie-in elevation too. But there are many different versions that have been installed to date. Few photos from an example project. 7 Mile Creek near St. Peter was constructed in 2024. You can see here that fixed weir dam that they had in 7 Mile Creek. As they started construction, you can still see that dam a little bit down at the top here, but you can see the ramping of the rock and just kind of the channeling of it to keep it in the middle. Shortly after construction was completed, this is what it started to look like. And then later you can see the low flow passage through the rock and even some of the higher flows on the right side there to show how the water is going to be sloping through the water through this section of rock. Most of these are all run by the River Ecology Unit. They've done 75 rock arch rapids to date, and the first one was built in 1994 on the Otter Tail River in Fergus Falls. You can see on here that a lot of them have been located in northwest Minnesota. It's all part of their Reconnecting the Red initiative, but they're also doing something similar on the Pomme de Terre. So, getting into this project, here's what we're proposing for the rock arch rapids running through there. Each rock arch rapid is composed of a rock ramp with a gentle slope, which in this case is 3% or less. The rock arch rapids or weirs are nested within that ramp and made of large fieldstone boulders positioned in that arch shape. The top of the arch is upstream and is set lower than the outside to really focus that flow into the center of the rapids. And then along with that gentle slope, there will be those pools just downstream to provide pool habitat and low flow refuge. In our project, those drops of 0.6 feet are actually able to be 0.5 feet per weir. And the large boulders that compose these weirs are hand selected and field placed. The Stantec and the DNR will have people on site to help the contractor strategically place these to meet the project specifications. So just a few, details that are on here. There's a 36 inches of boulders below that to really set that base in a stable condition. Those boulders that are going to be running across are 36 to 60 inch diameter boulders, and they'll be spaced with those gaps to allow for fish passage. The Lake Calhoun Outlet Dam is the first one we have shown here. You can see through there that it has the 3% slope. The dam is going to have the sluice gate removed. It'll have those abutments, those piers in the middle removed to make it one level dam across it. And it'll have the installation of the rock arch rapids. It'll be a gradual widening from the kind of narrow dam that's there with the abutments to the wider channel downstream. We're also filling in some washout areas that have occurred just downstream of the dam with additional rock and some vegetation to stabilize those banks. There's also going to be shoreline fishing opportunities both upstream and downstream of the existing dam with some larger 48 to 72 inch boulders with a flat top on them. Seen here is the diversion dam within County Ditch 20. That during the design, this stretch of CD 20 was evaluated and found that no separable repairs were necessary within the project boundary, and that no request was made for additional drainage system funding. So everything is within this project area, and it's all going to be the DNR funded project. So the site includes the bridge replacement, rock arch rapids, and a sheet pile weir to set that legally controlling elevation, which I'll get into on this next slide, showing that elevation. So the court-ordered elevation of 1155.80 in the 88 datum will be set by that sheet pile weir with the trapezoid shape. It has an 11-foot bottom with 3-to-1 side slopes up to the top. During permitting, there was additional seepage calculations determined, and we actually ended up widening it into the bank a little bit further to prevent any washout around around that sheet pile weir. The trapezoidal shape specifically was designed to assist with the hydraulic analysis to provide the no-rise scenario that's needed, which I'll get into in a few slides. Here is that bridge replacement. So the bridge is the second worst rated DNR vehicle bridge in the state. It all still passes the inspection, but it is in need of repair. So that's one of the major things that is driving this project. So it's going to be replaced with a concrete deck bridge with 20-foot drive lanes as well as a 4-foot protected walk to allow for access across the river as well as some fishing locations. A lot going on this slide. This is kind of showing that no-rise evaluation of what we completed for determining that this project isn't going to impound any additional water. So the cross sections that were critical in this were that 15.822 that was at Green, the 14.524, which is at the kind of diversion that goes down CD20 and then over to Lake Calhoun. We have a cross section just downstream at 13.654, which is where the outlet from Calhoun and CD20 reconnect. And then the cross section 13.2 is downstream at Culverts at 160th Street. So we performed that no-rise evaluation for this project and determined that the effect of the project to those surrounding properties and water level, that there was no rise. There is through this kind of middle area. So I know it might be tough to see, but this rise on the side, there is a shown rise through the rock arch rapids because we are raising up that grade there. That was all in an acceptable area as we were changing those grades, but the water levels in those in that 100-year event had no rise in the other 4 areas that are shown on this figure. This table is directly from the no-rise report that just shows that existing and proposed condition at each of the dams. So showing that in that 100-year at both the diversion dam and the outlet dam have no water level increase. So kind of moving past the design of it, there was significant permitting lift with this project. We had the Minnesota DNR work in public waters. We had the Wetland Conservation Act for some wetlands that were impacted with a replacement plan and a no-loss permit. The U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, a no-rise certificate, which we just discussed, and then the 103E petition that I'm in front of you for today, the MPCA's Clean Water Act, and then there's going to be a Pollution Control Agency stormwater permit that'll be obtained by the contractor before the start of construction. Quick update on these permits. The DNR work in public waters is ongoing and expected soon, along with the Wetland Conservation Act and the no-rise certificate. The Clean Water Act has been completed, and then we are waiting on the Corps of Engineers for that permit to be finalized. We expect it hopefully soon after the government reconvenes. So, funding is all through the DNR, through their Get Out More funding, betterment of lands, and the Natural Resources Asset Preservation Program. No funds from County Ditch 20 are requested for the construction of this project, as no separable repairs were founded. You can see kind of a breakdown of where those funds came from, but it's through different divisions within the DNR. Other partners on this project have been Middle Fork, Crow River, and Stantec Engineering. Candiahowa County, Austin has been involved through all of our design process. The Green Lake Property Owners Association, as well as the Lake Calhoun Association. Project update, we completed tree removal last winter in accordance with the BAT restrictions. The project has been awarded to Minnesota Native Landscapes pending all the permitting coordination that we're working through. We're here in front of you for the public hearing for County Ditch 20. We have completed significant public outreach for all the lakes. We hosted an open house at Middle Fork's office on July 28th, where residents from Greene and Calhoun came and voiced their opinions and concerns of the project. And then we have a tentative construction schedule in here where the contractor's hoping to start with the rock this winter yet on both those sites, while keeping the road and bridge open in some capacity. And then the bridge will be removed next September with access to Lake Calhoun being closed off middle of September, with a substantial completion of the middle of November of next year. And final in July 1st of 2027 with all restoration. We have had frequent questions on the project, about letting more carp into these areas, and we've discussed those at kind of both those open houses, but it will allow carp to pass through these, unlike the other one, but there is carp up and downstream of these dams as there is. What this is also gonna do is increase that fish diversity, because they'll also be able to passage these new dams. Impacts to the Green Lake water levels, there's no impact to it. The hydraulic analysis completed shows there's no impact. Same with the township road downstream. Was determined, it was asked, a lot of it was regarding the water, so like widening the abutment at the dam. You can see that it's a narrow just sheet pile right now, or narrow abutments, and we're putting in that sheet pile. That's where that trapezoid comes in to control that water elevation. And then if the ditch system was paying for anything, and that answer is no. All the funding is through the DNR. So, last thing I have here before taking any additional questions is really just the benefits of this project. There's so many benefits to the fish and mussel passages that haven't been able to pass through there based on the drop weirs that have been currently in place. There's safety improvements to both the shoreline fishing and people walking around these sites. All those tree removals, if you've tried to leave Lake Calhoun, trying to see people driving in, those tree removals have created a great line of sight for that. As well as all the fishing boulders we're gonna be placing to maintain that safety element around there. This is a great low maintenance option for fixed weirs. The plan is to have very minimal maintenance moving forward. And these dams are at the end of their life cycles anyway, so it's time to do some sort of improvement to it that's gonna kind of help with maintenance long-term. Questions?
Thank you. Do any board members have any questions for Mr. Wires or the petitioners? Commissioner Anderson.
Yeah, so the only one that has a sheet pile weir is the top where the established elevation is, and then the others are just the rock.
Yeah.
Okay, and you got it figured out so they don't roll downstream or whatever, so I'm sure because you're engineers, but is there any concern like somebody would come there at the middle of the night and remove a boulder? Or, I mean, does that ever happen? Or do you ever
Those
have problems with
boulders
that?
are 36 to 60 inch. So the ones that are setting those weirs are large enough that shouldn't be able to happen.
Right, okay.
There are obviously the smaller ones that are in there that, you know, are all kind of in those pools and stuff. Those will, you know, likely shift around slightly, but nothing that would impact the structural integrity of that dam.
Thank you. Anyone else with any, Commissioner Burke?
Mr. Chair, thank you very much. And some of this is a little bit familiar from our roads and bridges tours as well. So this is not the first time we've seen some of this area. I'm looking at the photo though, and I just was wondering if I understand that there was a canoe with somebody in there. Did that person make it down the river, or was that you?
You know, I'd have to default to Josh. That was his photo.
Yeah, this one's up actually in Fergus Falls in Otter Tail County. This is.
Oh, it kind of looks like the,
This is
okay.
the Otter Tail, Little Pine Lake outlet.
Oh.
So that the metal bridge is actually a snowmobile trail bridge that goes over there, then
Oh,
there's the
sure,
highway.
okay.
But yes, that one is passable through there with a canoe. There's an individual that actually takes Boy Scouts on that one particularly to teach those boys how to maneuver whitewater. It's not a whitewater park, it's not, but it shows them how to
Oh, yeah.
go around those boulders and work the boulders and everything else. So, yeah, it's pretty neat. I think that's who, he's in a canoe in this one, but there was another one where he was actually, showing the boys and stuff too. It was really neat, so.
Thank you. More to the story than I thought. Thank you.
Anyone else with any questions? Commissioner Imdek?
I don't really have a question. Mine is more of a comment. So it has been several years that I've been contacted by particularly homeowners on Lake Calhoun about the concern of whether or not that dam was going to fail. And so I having driven out there a few times, seeing the tree removal, I think this is a really great project that will enhance the recreation and the aesthetics of the area.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments from the board? All right, with that then, we are ready to hear from members of the public who wish to comment. And again, for the record, please state your name and address, and if you're able to, please identify your property as you begin your comment. Is there anyone who wishes to be recognized? Any members of the public who wish to be recognized during the public hearing? Okay, last and final call for any members of the public who wish to participate in the public hearing. And does anyone have any written materials that they wish to present?
Mr. Chair, I received no written comments for this public hearing.
Thank you. All right. Have any members of the board received anything from the public
None.
in this matter? No? All right, then, we will hereby close the public comment portion of this hearing. Mr. Hilbrands, what are our options at this point in time?
So you heard a presentation on the project and the engineer's report. You heard, or there was no public comments, and I believe the engineer was able to answer all the board's questions. In the draft findings and order in your packet, it states the petitioner shall be, this is in the order section, petitioner shall be responsible for all costs associated with design and construction of the proposed project in County District 20. That the petitioner shall be responsible for all expenses and fees incurred by the Drainage Authority in effectuating these proceedings, including the cost of engineering, legal fees, staff hours, publication, and all other costs of these proceedings. That upon completion of the pound reroute and diversion of County District 20 waters, the petitioner shall cause to be filed with the Candor County Auditor an as-built plan showing the alterations to County District 20. After completion of the project, the State of Minnesota Department of Natural Resources will take ownership of the constructed Rock Arch Rapids structure and the vehicle bridge within the channel of County District 20 and will be responsible for future repairs and maintenance of the structure. Furthermore, the Minnesota DNR will not modify the structure without proper authorization from the Canada County Drainage Authority under Minnesota Statute 103E. If you feel the engineer's report and other evidence presented at this project will be of public or private benefit and will not impair the utility of the drainage system or deprive affected landowners of its benefit, you can approve the draft findings and order as presented by me, approving the alteration to County Ditch 20 as detailed by engineer Nick Wires in his engineer's report.
Thank you. What is the wishes of the board? Commissioner Imdek.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, I would move to accept the staff recommendation and move forward with this project.
Thank you. And is there a second?
I'll second that, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. And then we have a motion from Commissioner Imdek, seconded by Commissioner Dwayne Anderson. Is there any discussion? All right, hearing no discussion, then we will vote on these draft findings and orders by roll call vote. Commissioner Dale Anderson?
Aye.
Commissioner Dwayne Anderson?
Aye.
Commissioner Berg?
Aye.
The chair votes aye. Commissioner Imdek?
Aye.
With that, we have 5 ayes, 0 nays, and the motion carries. All right. That brings us to the end of our business here during this public hearing then, correct?
Yes.
All right, well, thank you very much, and thank you for everyone's patience. We will at this time adjourn the
We have
ditch.
other agenda items related to the,
Pardon me?
we have other drainage authority.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was getting too far ahead. Yep, there we go. Then the next item of business is approval of the October 21st, 2025 Drainage Authority meeting minutes.
Yes. Yep.
And is there a motion?
So move, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Commissioner Imdek moves. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Commissioner Dale Anderson seconds. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. And then we have one other action item, and this is approval of the draft final hearing notice for County Ditch 7 redetermination of benefits. Mr. Hilbrands, will you tee this one up for us?
Yes. Mr. Chair, I did change this. I'm gonna seek a motion to set the public hearing for December 19th. We received the viewer's report for County Ditch 7, and I coordinated with the 2 other joint boards and with all of you and the County Ditch 7 board. And December 19th worked for everybody. So December 19th, we'll have a public hearing on the redetermination of benefits for County Ditch 7 and JD3 and JD7, and then a consolidation hearing at the end of that to consolidate these all into one system.
And the invitation came out for that to us, and that was at that time going to be held up here. That location is going to be changed.
Correct.
My
That
understanding.
that will be changed in the notice, correct?
Yep,
Yes,
down
yep.
to the multipurpose room downstairs.
Yes, yep, to accommodate more people, so.
Outstanding. All right, any questions for Mr. Hilbrands? All right, is there a motion?
Mr. Chair, I move to set the public hearing for the redetermination of benefits for CD7 and consolidation of CD7 with JD7 and JD7 laterals and JD3 laterals and branches for December 19th, 2025 at 8 a.m. or thereafter as the agenda allows in the multipurpose room at the Health and Human Services Building, 2200 23rd Street Northeast, Wilmer, Minnesota.
Mr. Chair, I'll second that motion.
Thank you. We have a motion and seconded. Motion by Commissioner Dwayne Anderson, seconded by Commissioner Imdek. Any discussion? All right, hearing none, then we will vote on these by a roll call vote as well. Commissioner Dale Anderson,
Aye.
Commissioner Dwayne Anderson,
Aye.
Commissioner Berg.
Aye.
The chair votes aye. Commissioner Imdek.
Aye.
5 ayes, 0 nays, and the motion carries. Thank you for everything today, and we will adjourn the Ditch Authority meeting, and we will reconvene as the Candido High County Board of Commissioners, and we will take a 12-minute recess.
IT, are you ready?
Thank you. The Candido County Board of Commissioners is back in session, and next we have our Health and Human Services Director, Caroline Kahn, giving us an update on federal and potential impacts. Caroline, nice ride, and good morning.
Good morning, Commissioners. I'm Caroline Kahn. As Chair Gardner indicated, I'm the Director of Health and Human Services here for Candy, Ojai County. This morning, just coming before you to make space for an update as we have ongoing federal impacts from the federal government shutdown. Make space for just updating you as well as our community on what we know today and hear from you any questions that you may have had from your citizens as well. This morning, coming with a few little updates. Yesterday, some hot news was that the USDA will be dispersing some contingency funds for the benefits of SNAP throughout the nation. What it's important to understand is that that has not been yet relayed from the state, how that will be dispersed or what that will look like. That is new information and has not been deployed in the past, so we are trying to stay abreast of it as quickly as we can. But what we want our community to know is that as soon as we know information, we will be communicating both at a state level and a local level as to what people can expect and how those will be deployed, and when they can expect for those to be deployed. We're already receiving phone calls and inquiries about what does that mean and how soon will things begin to show up in my either new application or current program benefits. Last time I came and updated the board, we talked a little bit about the 3,521 individuals enrolled in SNAP in Candy, Ojai County. I wanted to provide a little bit more lens about what that looked like from a makeup. We have 12% of individuals that are age 65 and older. We have 38% of those individuals are 0 to 17, and 23% of those individuals are ages 18 to 64 who live with a disability. So I think that's really important to understand some of those vulnerability impacts to the makeup of that population. We've also been notified that there's an increased number of scams where bad actors are texting people saying, hey, I have the opportunity to get you your benefits. I found some, a new stash, or this, all you need to do is send me your PIN number. All you need to do is send me your social security. That is a scam. Please do not engage in that activity. If you hear of somebody that received one of those texts, we ask that you report that to your local law enforcement authorities. I have not been personally notified of that happening in Candy, Ojai County, but that has been happening throughout the country as well as in Minnesota. I anticipate now with this new news as of yesterday that we'll see an uptick in that behavior. So we really want people to be mindful. If Candy, Ojai County is reaching out to you, we're not going to be asking for that information either in-house or on the phone or via text. MFIP, as it reported last time, cash benefits were dispersed, but SNAP benefits of the MFIP program were not. Jody just shared with me right before I came up here that we just received some hot off the press WIC information. Last update we had was that we had secured funding through mid-November. MDH just informed us this morning that we have secured funding for WIC through to December. So now through the month of November. We were just meeting as a WIC team this morning to go through what our WIC population looks like. So I wanted to share a little bit more about that with you this morning. Of the 1,540 participants enrolled in our WIC program, we have 357 women, 870 children, and 313 infants. A standard formula cost for an infant is about $250 for standard formula. We have 28 infants on specialty formula. So we're working right now to frame what does that look like from a cost standpoint so we can provide more information to you about that. On average, $33,000 a month of WIC benefits are dispersed within Candy, Ojai County. So that's on top of the $522,000 of SNAP benefits, bringing it to about $550,000 of food nutrition benefit to Candy, Ojai County. And then I just wanted to highlight as well as our community leadership team continues to meet on Friday mornings. You will be able to go to Vision 2040's page. We've decided as a community to use that as a resource landing page. Community members can go to the community resource landing and find all food access resources, as well as other relevant community resources through the Pact for Families resource guide, and then connections to mental health resources. I can't echo enough how important it is to communicate to our neighbors that this is a heavy lift and a heavy timeframe, and services and supports exist throughout Candy, Ojai County to support in that, and just remind individuals about the crisis line, as well as urgent care walk-ins at Woodland Centers, to be a partner through this, and encourage people to utilize those resources as available.
And I would imagine that we're also utilizing our social media accounts specific to Candy, Ojai County to bring out some of this message and all the appropriate links to the resources. And
Once that community resource page is live, we will be using our social media platforms to send that out, yes.
Outstanding. I just had a couple of things. So you mentioned that USDA has released contingency funds. Is it the entire fund, or is it a portion of it? And what impact is that going to have for SNAP recipients in the month of November?
My understanding is it will be a portion of the contingency funds is committed to be released and has not, I don't know if that has been released as of yet, but has committed to release. And that is yet to be unknown. We have to, that has to be given to the states and then directed down to the counties. So that's the guidance that we're awaiting to receive. We're unclear as to what that impact will look like from a recipient standpoint.
And if it does mean that those don't get rolled out right away and local units of government like Candy, Ojai County decide that they want to step into the breach, there's no guarantee that there will be any reimbursement for those funds at this time?
There's been no
would you say?
discussion of a reimbursement for those funds at this time.
Okay. And there was one other item here. I'll have to find it in my notes, but at this time, we'll ask for any other questions. Commissioner Emdek.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I think it was as of this morning, I saw a report that 50% of the needs will be met with the contingency fund. The administration is saying, well, we don't even know the mechanics of how we can get contingency dollars into the EBT cards. And I think that would also be true of the county. To your hypothetical question about stepping into the breach, if there was money that we would allocate to it, we don't even know how we'd get it into the system.
Thank you. Commissioner Burke.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yes, it's a moving target. I mean, almost every hour, these last couple of days, some news coming out. And I saw some of the reports this morning, too, on the different news outlets. And, you know, what you're talking about, that, yes, we are finding out that they're going to allocate and be enough to cover for half a month. And it depends upon how they're going to do it, and it's questionable. And just to piggyback on what you're saying, is they're not even sure the computer can, unless, computer's used to submitting the whole amount, and can they do partial then? And that could take days or a couple of weeks even. And so there's so much confusion about that whole thing going on, and that really kind of concerns me. Also, I'm not sure where the state of Minnesota also is going to do something, but I'm not sure where that puts us. So from a county's point of view, it kind of leaves us in limbo here. Yes, there's something going in that direction. How that's going to work out and where's the gap? And I'm really concerned. You think about Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and food is a big part of that. And the county has been involved in, over the years, as a safety net, and especially in this area, and in some manner. And right now, I think government has a place in that role. And right now, it's really confusing, and when the government has taken that place in that role, and we've been providing those services on their behalf. But now we're sitting here, and I'm thinking going forward, we should be prepared to do something if at some point in time this is not going to work out to fill that gap. And you came up with some ideas, and I'm just kind of wondering, as a board, where we stand on this as well, because I'm thinking we should allocate some dollars as possible to be able to help with that as needed. Right now, I think it's been very wise. We're leaving it up to the federal government and the state. This is their responsibility. And we really don't want to take property tax dollars and spend it that way. We do have dollars, and I understand some counties are doing that as well. So I think we have a responsibility to have a plan here that we can move forward, even if it's a motion that we would authorize the chair, the administrator, and yourself, director, to make that decision. If you know, can you say, and I'm talking about, you know, maybe $5,000, $10,000 going to the food shelf or some other place for it to go to get help for these people that need food. I threw out a lot there.
No, I appreciate
Came out
your
this morning,
spirit.
I was just thinking, we got to do something.
And I appreciate that. I think right now, our stance as a leadership team has been to try to frame as much of what that request could look like for you. That's why we're trying to frame, what does this benefit cost? How many people are on specialty formula, and what other ways can we braid? Meeting as a community with our, we have about 20 partners that meet on Friday morning. I haven't had anybody show up at that meeting saying, I have an unmet need today. By meeting as a collective, we're able to say, here, the food shelf hasn't said I've turned away 1,600 families this week because we don't have the funds. If that day comes, then we will be able to come to this table and say, commissioners, can we have that conversation? We have philanthropic partners. We have other social service agency partners. We all know that there's unmet needs today. But to depict how do we clearly deploy that. So I couldn't come before you with a direct ask confidently. But that's what we're attempting to do, is frame what that would look like. So when that day comes, we're prepared. As a team, we're still going through all of our families and saying, okay, we have this non-levy fund. How can we use this to deploy to support the families that we are engaged with? Understanding we're not engaged with the entire community, but how can we then use those to talk to some of our other partners to say, okay, if you have a family with an unmet need, how can we partner to meet those things, or work with the Good Samaritan Fund at the Community Foundation, and really work as a cohesive community response versus just one partner sharing the lift.
Mr. Chair, may I
Yeah.
Yes, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yes, and I also want to commend the staff and yourself and our agency and the county for, what they've done up to this point. For example, I was in church on Sunday, and of course, it was a big, the churches many of the churches have been contacted, and they're actually stepping up and doing things. Individuals are doing things and making extra donations, so there's lots taking place, and that's really good stuff going. My concern is, though, that there's a gap in time, 2 weeks between every board meeting, and that we need to be prepared, and we're looking for you to put that together for us, so that you can take the action when needed, because we don't want to wait, we got to wait 2 more weeks before we do that. And we want to be able to give you the tools to work on this right away.
And to that point, I suspect that there may be some provision within statute that we could meet sooner than that. Commissioner Imdek.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. If we wait until the need is imminent and we don't have a plan, then it's going to take more time to implement what we come up with. And so there's that. There's the question of where the funds would come from, and there are some funds that I can think of that could be available. And also, we have to identify who all the providers are. I mean, we always talk about the food shelf, but there's several distribution points within the county, and probably even serving some outside the county that drive in for it. But we have to be able to mobilize for everybody, and that's why the planning that Commissioner Berg talks about, I think, is important.
And you're working on this with the community leadership team as well as all of our internal staff and administration. And, it's because everything seems like it's written in quicksand at the moment. Guidance might change from 1 minute to the next. It's a little hard to put a target on this at this point in time as to whether or not resources will be needed. We suspect they will. But also, what does that look like? What are our priorities within the unmet needs and that type of thing? Yes. I'm sorry, I thought I'd interrupted you.
No, I'm just, I appreciate the spirit of generosity. I was not expecting this type of response, so I appreciate it. And, yes, we could, I will not turn down the opportunity to be able to invest in the needs locally. But I will take your guidance as to what you would like that to look like and where you would like that to be dispersed. We do know who our active food distribution access points are within the community, and the ones that we're directing to. But that doesn't mean that they are our only opportunities. So that was part of the Community Foundation's ability to use the inspired generosity. We've identified that there are 2 specific food access challenges within the community. One being our youth that are middle school and high school aged, and then one being non-business hour distribution. So we're working as a community leadership team to talk about those vulnerabilities, because right now, food access points, there's only one time frame during the day that is 1 day a week that is not 8 to 4:30. So trying to expand access or employer flexibility to allow staff to go to food access points during work days for those needs. So trying some educational points around that, or empowering distribution in other areas. So we certainly could look at giving you, the link is a great food access point for the northern part of the county, the community, the Candy Ojai County Food Shelf in the Wilmer area, Hope for Our City on Wilmer, in Wilmer here on Wednesdays. LSS Youth Resource also does food distribution and has pivoted theirs. We have some food backpack programs throughout the schools, districts, are some of the first points of food access distribution within the community outside of meal delivery.
Commissioner Imdek.
Thank you. You mentioned community leadership team. Can you, what is the community leadership team?
So it's actually a team that was put together during COVID that was kind of hosted through the Community Foundation, where it brought together partners from both Health and Human Services, the city, UCAP, food access points, school districts, health systems, faith organizations. I'm sure I'm missing. Whoever's able to show up, we meet together virtually on Fridays at 9 a.m. And talk about what do we know today, what challenges have we encountered, what opportunities do we see for the next week, in what ways can we collaborate. Salvation Army is also a part of that. And just an opportunity to really talk about needs. That's where last week we talked about the youth in that teen range, as well as non-business hour food access distribution.
Could I follow up?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I just want to make it clear that I can't speak for Commissioner Berg, but I can speak for myself. We're not offering resources at this time. What we're suggesting is that we have a plan so that if resources are needed and we have the ability to mobilize some resources, that we have the plan. But we can't come if there's a dire need 10 days from now, we can't, we have to public notice these things, and we have to go through the right processes to have the conversations. So that, I think, is what Commissioner Berg is saying. It's what I'm feeling in terms of readiness. And hopefully it's all for moot.
Yes, hopefully so it is. Thank you, Mr. Chair. And I'm just thinking too, we should jumpstart this plan as well. And I'm just wondering if, I would like to suggest we consider passing a resolution where they would have, and Administrator Baker, I'd like to hear your feedback on that, but that you have the authority, if something comes up and you hear something, that we would approve up to $10,000 that you could distribute between board meetings. And that's, and you would have the authority to move on that.
Part of me, I guess I'm trying to wrap my head around
Yes.
the plan, because we are doing a plan. The plan is that we're meeting with our community partners.
Yes.
We are meeting those needs at this point. That plan is that we will continue to meet those needs from the communities based on the length of the shutdown and what we're finding out each day. Like, prime example, this morning, we just found out they're releasing contingency funds. We don't know how that will look, but we know that. And so I think that plan is that we know we can come to the board to ask. I think you bring up a good point, Commissioner Berg. Maybe we do something contingent upon if it falls between a board meeting. I think for the most part, based off noticing an emergency or a special board meeting, there is a time frame in that, but it's a pretty quick time frame. If we were to have to call a special board meeting, I just think at this point, we're still trying to fine tune so we don't come to the board with X amount. And what does the board's role in this look like? And I think that's what we're trying to figure out. With other than just saying, give X amount of money.
Yeah, I
So
agree.
to meet that need. And so I think when we're meeting with these community partners, we're talking with our staff, we're really, I will say, we're trying to figure out what that specific is. But the plan is what we're doing right now, and that is our plan, and that's the plan we're presenting, that here's where we're at with the updates. This is what we're trying to still figure out, finding out more information on how many clients there are, you know, the WIC information, MFIP information, keeping our partners up to speed, and to kind of go off what Caroline said on that community leadership. It is our community partners that we work with all the time. It's our UCAP, LSS, Community Closet, the Link, faith-based organizations, the YMCA, WCI. It's all of our partners that we work with on a regular basis within the Department of Human Services, and it's all those touch points. And I've sat on that call, and they are all, and they're sharing information, share this flyer, we have this. And so when I say our community, or when Caroline has said our community partners have stepped up, they truly have, and that is not just Wilmer focused, that is Candioi County as a whole, have truly stepped up, sharing our resources, because it is, Candioi County is not just Wilmer, it is all Candioi County. And that was one thing that Caroline and I talked about, that we were gonna make sure that we are meeting everybody's needs. And that was very important to us. It's important to me that Candioi County is all of Candioi County. And so that, I guess like that specific ask, like Caroline and I have said, we don't have, but because we don't want to come to the board with an ask that we don't know what that ask will look like or what it will be. And so I think that's, if you want to expand on that a little bit, but that plan is what we're doing now and providing weekly emails to the board. If there is something that ever urgently changes, absolutely, I would work with the chair to call a special meeting.
Caroline, anything to add?
I think Kelsey or Administrator Baker recapped it well. Our plan right now is just that we're meeting as a team daily and we're getting very granular into ways that we typically don't work. I typically don't spend my day going through case by case with our team and saying, okay, how else can we meet this family need and in what other ways? Our plan is really operationalized internally right now as of what the needs would look like in the next 2 weeks. Based off the information that we have today, I can't foresee what will change. And to your point, Commissioner, I do hope it's for a moot point. I hope that we find ourselves doing all of this work for nothing, but we find ourselves in an opportunity that we learned a lot through this experience too, and the ways that we can work with our families.
Mr. Chair.
Commissioner Berg, and then Commissioner Imdek.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And a very good plan, and it's the same plan you were working on before at our last board meeting, except the difference was that plan was up until this date, and now we find out they have stopped that program. And that's why I'm thinking the contingency that we give you the authority, if you see a need out there, that you could try to meet that and not call a special board meeting, but then you could wait till the next board meeting. So I would like to suggest that the board authorize that you have the authority to move on some plan if you had to expand that plan meantime to meet people's needs and food needs. So I'm just not disagreeing with what's happening and taking place. I don't want to spend that money, and I'm not suggesting we just go spend that money. But we want to give you the tools to do that between meetings.
Commissioner Imdek.
And without that authority, only the board can appropriate any kind of funds. And we should have part of the plan should be how much and where they come from. We have different funding sources within our funds. And if we wait until the day after they needed the resources. And by the time we public notice and have our meeting and, you know, debate the opportunities, we'll have lost some more days. Plus, we don't know what our schedules are at for, somebody will propose a meeting for, you know, November 15th, and 3 of them can't make it, or whatever the case is, so. It's called preparedness plan.
Yep, I'm Commissioner Berg, and then I'll
Okay,
have
Mr. Chair,
comments, and I'm going to try to wrap this up.
yeah, Mr. Chair, thank you very much. And I do think the board has this responsibility that we provide a safety net for our community as much as possible as needed, and we have a plan. I would just like to also maybe move on that, and I would, I feel that we have millions of dollars in reserves, and we got a place we can find that. And we've passed motions before without actually saying, where are we gonna take that money out? And we're not talking about large amount here, you know, 1/100th or even less than that of our budget per se. And so I think the taxpayers will be comfortable with that, and I think that everybody understands we're part of our role is to help provide a safety net in our community and give them the authority. And I'd like to suggest that we would give $10,000 authority to these people, to the administrator and the director, to make a decision. If there's a need for some funds, they could use that, but we're not expecting them to use that, and we're hoping not, and they can continue with their plan as we go forward. It's just a stopgap, and I think as a board, that's our role, is to have that leadership about our community this way.
And so you're making a motion?
I would like to make a motion that we allocate 10,000 to administrator and director, that to use these dollars as needed if the opportunity comes up that they find a need for them between now, or maybe we can just even leave that motion, make it for the next 2 board meetings in case we need to do that instead of going through it every board meeting.
Okay, so there is a motion on the table from Commissioner Berg to authorize the administrator and director to appropriate up to $10,000 in emergency funds during the month of November. Is there a second?
I'll second that for discussion purposes.
Thank you. There is a motion and a second. Discussion. Commissioner Imdak.
Thank you. I would support a motion like that if I knew where the funds were coming from. For example, several years ago, we took $600-some thousand from West Central Industries, funds that we had, went to the community foundation. Those are not levy dollars. Those dollars, you know, that would be a good place, good use of those funds. We also have a few ARP dollars remaining. I don't know if they qualify for something like this, but we have some unallocated ARPA dollars that could be used.
Thank you for that. Anyone else wish to? Commissioner Dale Anderson.
I'm not against what you guys are talking about, but I just think that I hear the other side of it a little bit too, and I guess that's what I'm struggling with over here listening. So I guess where I'm at and how I feel about it is, if they really find that they need the money, then we need to call a special meeting, and they need to give us an amount and where it's gonna come from with a staff recommendation. I really struggle with doing this too fast, and that's just where my heart is right now. And not that I'm against what Corky's saying or what Roger's saying, but I think that there's a different way to go at it.
Commissioner Dwayne Anderson.
I just want to thank Caroline and the whole staff that what you guys are doing, you guys are really stepping up. I think what I'm seeing here today is that we are here to support you if you need the support. Right now, it seems just too vague to just kind of allocate some money out there because you haven't asked for it yet. But we are here to support you if we need it. And I just, right now, I think it would be a little bit chaotic and to just throw money out there. I know you guys are very responsible, but it could spiral out of control real quick. And that's why I don't know if I can support this at this time. And not that I'm not supportive of you guys, because I think you're doing a great job, and it seems like you got a handle of it on it at this point.
Thank you. I'm going to weigh in just a little bit here. I very much appreciate the passion of everybody on this board who wants to be able to have something we can tangibly do now. But I am hearing that the needs aren't totally well-defined as of yet because we simply don't have enough information as to whether or not we'd be able to take action fairly quickly as a board. We would be able to either call a special meeting or even an emergency meeting. And the emergency meeting piece of this is a fairly quick, I mean, we could meet, I would imagine, day of if we needed to. And to meet the definition of an emergency, sometimes it's, oftentimes it's natural disasters, that type of thing. I can think of no better type of emergency to meet for than to be meeting the needs of infants and women and children in hunger. And so for that reason, I would prefer myself that we wait and get just a little more information. And when our staff and our community partners tell us that this is a need, boom, I do believe that we would be quickly ready to be able to address that need. Caroline and then Roger.
May
This
I-
is the debate.
This is, I just was,
I'm
This is
sorry.
board debate, point of order, this is board debate.
All right, that's fair enough. Go ahead.
So, I'm gonna turn to Mr. Baker here to question whether or not we could call an emergency meeting without a public notice. I have a strong doubts about that.
Well, I'd want to look into that. I'd be concerned too, but maybe you should just decide whether even to have a special meeting. That's a 3-day notice window. That's not really that long.
Certainly, that would be an option for us as well. I happen to believe that statute probably gives us fairly wide latitude in whether or not we could call an emergency meeting.
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm thinking, all we're trying to do is give staff the tools to work with and recognize a real need out here. And we're not spending money, and I'm very confident that our administrator will be wise as well as the director. And I'm thinking we'd call a special meeting to hear, he'll say, yes, we could use these dollars now, and we'd say, most likely, yes. Well, why don't we just say, we trust your judgment because we'd be approving it at a special meeting. And it would just save, it'd just be a good, better sign of leadership, I believe, that we would authorize this at this point, because basically, if we call a special meeting, we're assuming that we may be authorizing it then, right? So we're not saying, I don't want to make this motion that you go out and spend those dollars. But if, you know, they just can't call on the phone and say, is it okay we spend it now? I feel comfortable pursuing this way to move forward, that the board authorize that option for them to use if they felt a need for that, and then report back to the board at the next board meeting.
Does anyone else on the board wish to say anything before I ask Caroline to jump in here with any last comments? Caroline, go ahead.
would the board like me to reach out to those partners to clarify? The need isn't going away within 2 weeks. Even if the federal shutdown ends tomorrow, there is likely going to be an ongoing need through the remainder of the year. So I would like to seek direction on the board's behalf, if you would like me to reach out to those identified specified food access partners, understanding that there are food access points throughout the county, but there are some of our main points, and I could ask them to color that in a little bit to say our board would like to hear a little bit more about what your identified needs for the remainder of the year might look like and where your shortfalls are. So is that something that you would like me to clearly ask?
For myself, I would say yes. Commissioner Berg.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And actually, I would be open to amending it to say that the administrator would check with the chair of the board going forward if we pass that motion about allocating some of these dollars out. Would that be more acceptable?
I appreciate that, but I think I also heard Commissioner Imdek, was it, that said, or one of the two of you said something about without knowing where the funds are coming from. You know, that's a little bit of a concern as well. We haven't identified a fund yet. I just believe that when, if you come to us with, and say, okay, here's the need, here's the scope of the need, here's the amount, and here are going to be the funding sources for it, we can dispense with that in relatively quick order, I should think. So, that's just myself. Anyone else?
Mr. Chair, Commissioner Berg's proposal is a contingency fund, if it's needed. It's contingent on need. And so in that respect, but I'm not comfortable just giving carte blanche approval to take funds from wherever you see fit. I wanna have some say-so as to where what funding options we have if we would do something like that.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
Could we ask Administrator Baker, would you be able to find an appropriate fund for that?
Absolutely. The two options Commissioner Imdike suggested, I guess I wouldn't use those. ARP has already been allocated. That was allocated at the end of 2024. That separate fund, that's, as you have been updated on through the FRC, Family Resource Center, those funds are planned to help with that. Caroline has updated the board on that, and so I guess I would look to the dollar amount of $10,000. I would look to Carol Tollefson, our fiscal supervisor, and use our Human Services Fund. We're sitting very healthy in that. $10,000 isn't going to make a dent in it. It stays within the Human Services Fund. Carol's probably shaking her head at me right now, but I would look to that at this point. And as Commissioner Imdike said, it is a contingency. We wouldn't have to use it, I guess. I appreciate the generosity from the two commissioners suggesting this today. I guess I have also some concerns, but that's the fund I would suggest looking at this point. Without knowing about the city, that would be the fund that I would suggest.
Commissioner Imdek.
Thank you. You brought something up that I don't want to debate today, but the Family Resource Center, I don't think we approved those dollars that came from West Central Industries.
No, not.
We haven't dedicated those dollars to anything. So those dollars and the earnings on them certainly should be available.
But do I think I recall that there's a set of specific things that we can spend that money on to help a specific population because that's where they came from. Do I have that right?
I think we may have gotten some wires crossed. So the
Yeah,
FRC is a separate grant for our Family Resource Center exploration. Part of
that's what
that
you're looking at,
is
right.
exploring is, could we utilize the Special Needs Fund and those resources that have been specifically set aside and designated for the resource needs of special needs populations? So in order to activate that fund, we would, which is a possibility, we would have to look at how does that specifically support the 23% of individuals living with a disability receiving SNAP benefits and/or other populations. But that is a possibility that we could explore within that would meet that fund requirements.
Sure.
Yes.
So Mr. Baker mentioned a source,
Human Services.
Human Services. Are those levy dollars or are those dollars that came from the administration or from the federal government?
Levy dollars. That would be in our reserve account, in that Human Services Reserve, when it's just $10,000. And like I said, this is the first, I would want to look at this further as well, because I hadn't thought about this until now, so I would want to double check with our finance staff. But that's the funds that are in our reserve account.
Commissioner Berg.
Administrator Baker
Commissioner Dale Anderson.
and Director Khan. And this motion was, yes, you would do that. And that's the expectation. You look at that and say, well, I don't think we need to spend those funds for that right now. Fine. We're just giving you some tools that if you see the need there, this would be a route to go. And I would like to add to that, you check with the chair.
All right, Commissioner Dale Anderson.
I totally don't want to sound like I'm not for this, because I think it's a great idea, but it just goes back to the argument and the conversation that is going on here, that we need some time to look at this, and they need to come up with a recommendation from staff on how we're going to do this. Not that it's a bad idea, but I think we need to have them come with a recommendation of where they want to come from. If something happens within 2 weeks, then we call a special meeting. It's just the best way to do this. I'm not against it. I think it's a great idea, and I hope we can come to that conclusion at some point, but I just feel like this is too unorganized right now.
Is there anybody else that wishes to bring any other
I
discussion?
promise just to say one more time.
Commissioner,
Okay, all right. Thank you, Mr. Chair. And I understand everybody. My point of view is if we come across people that have not had food and they're then without food for some time, we don't want to say, hey, we'll get a special meeting and see if we can get you some groceries. And we don't want to be in that position to even do that. But if you see a need there at some place, that you still would have that option. So that's, to me, when people, you see the need that they're not getting food, I don't want to just wait 2 weeks until the next meeting. And you can make a decision then. That's all.
Caroline.
Just to clarify, that need can be met through the Good Samaritan Fund at the Community Foundation that we have operationalized. So just to ease
think that
that
would-
concern, that process is in place. We also have non-levy funds that we've operationalized internally, and the processes in which we can deploy those differently throughout the department to meet that. So we don't have individuals that we know are engaged with. I can't promise for neighbors that we don't know, so.
Do we, Mr. Chair?
Yes.
Just a question. Do we know what extent of those funds there would be then? I mean, if the funds are there available, is that enough
not know
for
the
the
balance of the
needs?
Good
And that's what I'm
Samaritan-
saying, if there's not enough needs there, that's when you'd use these dollars.
Yep, I'm not aware of the
This is
balance.
just a
of-
backup for the
Yep,
backup.
That I have no indication is unhealthy. I do know that I have various pots of probably upwards around 50,000 that meet various mental health and/or substance use, local homeless prevention aid internally, Families First prevention aid. We have various funds internally that we are working through on a internal basis to operationalize to meet those needs in non-levy funded ways today.
But can you use those funds for the
We
food
can-
without the board authorization?
We use those funds every day within the guidelines that the state has given them to us to use to benefit families.
So we could be then helping out
We are
financially?
with various needs that they're already, those programs are set
Yeah, but,
with.
okay.
We just have to get creative as to how do we look at them and make sure that we're intentionally talking about them.
So part of the plan, if I may continue, would be, then you see the need come up, that you would take those funds up to $10,000 and use those until our next board meeting or next special meeting.
So,
If the need was there.
so currently, can I give, and I don't want to.
I don't know what the need is.
Labor this any further, but this morning, the conversation we had with WIC was regardless to the local homeless prevention aid dollars that were given. So those are dollars were given to help support the housing needs of individuals that have a child preschool age to high school. So looking at the list of vulnerable families that we have, do they have a child that meets that criteria, that this could be a potential, that if we could help fund their housing need, could they then afford their specialty formula? Could they then afford their food benefits? How can we look at this differently if that need arises? And can we start talking about that? We don't typically look at things in that way until that need is there, but now we're having different conversations and getting a bit more strategic about creating contingency plans per family if needed, and different streams that they might qualify for that don't have to use the levy, because we do have some non-levy funded initiatives remaining through the end of the year.
So,
Go ahead.
so you're saying that there's enough funds there if the needs were there?
As of this point, I feel comfortable for the next 2 weeks that we would be able to meet that.
If you had a need up to
I have-
10,000, that
yes,
you have the authorization to spend that without us even to make a decision.
correct.
I did not understand that.
Commissioner Imdak.
That sure would have shortened this discussion if that
that's
had
what
come
I
out at
was
the
trying to
beginning
say.
instead of at
If
the
you
end.
could do that,
I apologize, I thought I was being clear earlier in that, and I thought that's what I meant when we were saying we were going through strategically and talking about each family. So that's why I said I wasn't coming with an ask today, because I was able to
And
meet
that's the
that.
granularity you
The
were
granularity.
referencing earlier.
so there's enough funds to help out there, up to 10,000 or even more. And so I feel more comfortable if we go in that direction, because you can do that without us. But I did not know that because.
I apologize, I thought that I was,
Because I had no idea how much funds there were there and what your authorities were.
yeah, and very rarely do we not have one, and then we have the Good Samaritan that we can fall back on for up
Oh,
to
yes, I
500.
know, maybe
Yep.
once, one here, one there, or whatever, but I
Yep.
didn't think when we got, how many
We have
hundreds
very-
that are not going to be getting food?
Yeah.
Can you deal with that number?
We're stretching. Every day, our team is stretching to look at things
So
differently.
you
and
are
we're- yep.
filling in and backfilling, or whatever you want to call it.
We are strategically looking at each family.
Financially.
Yep.
Mr. Chair, I would, unless the motioner wants to withdraw the motion, I would move to postpone this discussion until our next board meeting or until the next special session is called.
And I'll second that, or I'm fine with that.
All right, so now we have an amendment to the main motion, which is to postpone the discussion until our next regularly scheduled board meeting or any special meeting that may be called in between.
Correct.
All right. And so we have a motion, and does that require a second?
It is second.
You did, okay, thank you. Any further discussion? All right, hearing none, all in favor of the amendment to the main motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes, thank you. Caroline, thank you so much for being here today to update us in the time it takes you to get back down to your office. Guidance from the federal government may have changed already, we'll see what happens. So, good luck with that, thank you so much.
Good conversation.
Good discussion, thank you, everybody. At this time, we have Joint
Joe
Powers
Dan.
Agreement Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program. Go ahead. Oh, Dana? And then we'll get you, Jody.
Hi, I'm Dana Wenish, the Financial Assistant Supervisor overseeing the SNAP programs.
Good morning, Mr. Chair and members of the board and commissioners. Melissa Ball Warner, the Job Service Supervisor for Career Force for the Local Workforce Development Area 5. And we are the contracted SNAP E&T provider for the SNAP program. Typically, this is on the consent agenda, but with everything going on with the federal government, we were put on the general agenda just to ensure if there are any questions or if there are any concerns about the SNAP program right now. In addition to,
There may not be any more, but.
Yeah, right, okay.
But go ahead. So you have a joint powers agreement that you want to bring forward. Will you characterize that for us and give us a little background?
so for the previous fiscal year, 2025, Career Force was able to provide services or offer services to 234 SNAP potentially time-limited recipients. So time-limited is that 3 months out of a 36-month period. And with the SNAP program for fiscal year 25, we were awarded an additional grant to help and try and target the veteran community. So we had an amazing outreach with the Minnesota National Guard here right in Wilmer. We went there, we were able to invite partners across the state to come and provide services. And we really wanted to direct those services because of the changes that are potentially upcoming with the changes of the bill. And so we really wanted to get outreach there. And a lot of individuals were kind of giving us some kickback as to why are we going out and promoting individuals enrolling in SNAP employment and training. Well, it's not that we're promoting individuals applying for food assistance. We're promoting them if food is a need, like you mentioned Mansfield's hierarchy of needs. Yes, we want you to be able to eat, we want you to have stable housing, and then we want to come in and we want to try and gather up all of the barriers that we try to help you through those barriers to make it so we can get one step closer to self-sufficiency. And so that is what we're doing. Outreach is able to do that, to provide the individuals all of the training resources, any other supportive services that are available to them, things that we can help with, and things that our partners can assist with as well. It's just getting the word out there. If you don't know, and if you don't have anyone to tell you, we really want to make sure that we can be the ones to grant that voice.
So is this part of, or is it independent of the assistance that MFIP recipients get?
So we have the Joint Powers Agreement for MFIB, but we also have the Joint Powers Agreement for SNAP. So with Career Force, so they're two different programs, and we offer the employment and training and employment services for both programs currently.
Because we just heard that the cash benefits are paid out, but not the SNAP benefits.
Correct.
So
And so
that's-
even though SNAP is not being issued to the participants, we are still able to provide employment and training services because we are the American Jobs Center for Minnesota. The Career Force is the AJC. So we are there to provide universal services to everyone technically looking for assistance, not just participants on SNAP or MFIB.
Okay, outstanding. Thank you for that clarification. Any questions from the board? Do we have a motion?
Mr. Chair, I so move to approve
So you move the
contract.
adoption of the joint powers agreement renewal. This is a renewal, yes?
Correct.
Okay. We have a motion. Is there a
I'll second that.
Commissioner Imdak seconds. Discussion. All right, hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you for everything that you're doing. Jody, come on up. 2026 public health fees. Jody Ammerman is our public health manager. Jody, good morning.
Yes, good morning. Jody Ammerman, Public Health Manager, and I have a recommendation to increase our fees for our interpreter hourly rate from $35 to $45 an hour, and our administrative support hourly rate from $35 to $45 an hour, and all our other fees to remain the same for 2026.
All right, thank you. I will just mention that we just had a discussion when we were setting a budget yesterday at Supporting Hands Nurse Family Partnership, and the interpretation fees are a bigger and bigger part of that budget, and this is no surprise to me that the same for public health. We have seen this at the CHB already and move that forward, yes?
Yes.
Okay. What would the board wish to do? I will move the Candiota County Public Health annual fee structure for 2026.
I'll second it.
Thank you. Any discussion? Commissioner Imdak.
Thank you. Is that kind of the going rate for interpretive fees from, at 45? It seems like a large increase on a percentage basis for sure. And maybe Mr. Gardner can say what Nurse Family Partnership is spending for.
I would have to go back and look at that piece of the packet that's in my briefcase, but I will mention that I think we were looking at an average of $25 an hour just not that long ago, maybe about two to 3 years ago. And the need has just risen that much, and the providers, of course, know what they're going to charge.
Yeah, we try to, what our internal costs are for salary, and then we try to have a fair rate as well.
And I don't know that I'm going to find that yet for the purposes of this discussion, because It apparently didn't remain in my briefcase. So I apologize for that, but I do know that those costs have been rising, and they've been out of budget, and that's why Supporting Hands did what they did, and this is just a continuation of that. Commissioner Imbeck?
Is administrative support, is that outside services? Is that a contracted service, or is that?
Yes, that is contracted.
All right, we have a motion and a second, yes? On this, any further discussion? All right, hearing none, then all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. And then, Jody, thank you so much. And we're going to have a Veterans Affairs Department update. Actually, how long do you have?
4 minutes.
We're going to give you the 4 minutes, and we're not going to include travel time.
Okay.
Trish Appledorn is our Veterans Affairs Director. Trish, good morning.
Good afternoon, morning, I guess. It feels like afternoon, doesn't it?
It's going to be.
I don't know if you guys got here as early as I did today, but you saw the lovely green lights when I pulled up to the building. So it's Veterans Month, November. Veterans Day is next Tuesday. Background information on Kandiyohi County. Excuse me. According to the statistics, we have 3,711 veterans in Kandiyohi County as of 2024. Last year, we brought in $18,456,000, I'm just gonna round them, $457,000 in death benefits, $178,000 in non-VA home construction, VA education benefits of $398,000, and medical benefits of around $13 million, sorry. Those numbers are steadily decreasing because of our veteran population, just an FYI. A lot of our World War II vets, Korean vets, and even Vietnam veterans are passing away very, very quickly, unfortunately. Last year, I take pride in this because there's a report that I couldn't get onto last week when I was preparing this, but we have a state of Minnesota Department of Veterans Affairs. Work very closely with them. We get a lot of benefits from them. Those benefits go to local dentists, eye doctors, roofers, septic tanks, windows. And last year, we received $17,000 from them to be spent locally. This year, so far, we're up to $31,100, and I'm working on one in my office right now for 20 grand. So it'll increase. Those benefits are important. The one I'm working on right now is a foreclosure for a veteran, so they're important and they're appreciative so if any of you know of a veteran out there, I said 4 minutes, so I'll keep going. On your paper is a list of veterans programs going on over Veterans Day this year. And then a resolution, did you want me to read it, Kelsey, or you all have it in your packets to the green light?
Go ahead.
Did you want me to read the whole thing?
Sure.
Sure. Whereas the residents of Kandiyohi County, with great respect, admiration, and the utmost gratitude for all the men and women who have selfishly served our country and community in the armed forces, and whereas the contributions and sacrifices of those who served in the armed forces have been vital in maintaining the freedom and way of life enjoyed by our citizens. And whereas Kandiyohi County seeks to honor individuals who have made countless sacrifices for freedom by placing themselves in harm's way for the good of all. And whereas veterans continue to serve our community in the American Legion, Veterans of Foreign Wars, religious groups, civil service, and by functioning as Kandiyohi County Kandiyohi Veteran Service Officers in 29 states to fellow former veterans members access more than $52 billion in federal health, disability, compensation benefits each year. And whereas approximately 200,000 service members transition into civilian communities annually, and whereas an estimated 20% increase of the service members will transition to civilian life in the near future. And whereas studies indicate that 44 to 72% of service members experience high levels of stress during transition from military to civilian life. And whereas active military service members transitioning from military service are at high risk for suicide during their first year after military. And whereas the National Association of Counties encourages all counties, parishes, boroughs recognize Operation Greenlight for veterans. And whereas the Candioi County appreciates the sacrifices of the United States military personnel and believes specific recognition should be granted. And therefore it is resolved that with designation of the green light for Veterans County, Candioi County hereby declares November 4th through the November 11th, 2025, a time to salute and honor the service and sacrifices of our men and women in uniform transitioning from active service. Therefore, it be further resolved that in observance of the Operation Greenlight, Candioi County encourages its citizens' patriotic tradition to recognize the importance of honoring all of those who made immeasurable sacrifices to preserve freedom by displaying green lights in the window of their place of business or residence from November 4th to November 11th, 2025. Adopted this fourth day of November, 2025.
Thank you very much, and
I did
it's-
not read that before, so I hope I did okay.
I think it's important to say what the resolution is and why we're doing this. And I just want to thank you for your service. I know Commissioner Berg is a former service member as well. And
8 years Army Reserve. yes.
anyone else here in this room who has served, thank you for that. With that, we have a resolution, and I'd entertain a motion to move on Resolution 2025-35.
Mr. Chair, I'll make the motion to adopt Resolution 2025-35.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you. Any discussion? All right, hearing none, all in favor of the resolution signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Anything else to add?
No, you can come in and see our office, though. We have new paint and new flooring, and it looks absolutely wonderful.
Great.
Outstanding.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, and we will take a 10-minute recess.
spot. Would it-
IT, are you ready?
The Candido County Board of Commissioners is back from recess. Corey Smith is with us, and he's presenting a water tower lease agreement. Corey, good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, members of the board. I serve as the director out at Glacial Lakes Sanitary Sewer and Water District. I'm here before you this morning to request approval of a water tower lease agreement with MVTV Wireless. As a district, we own and operate 3 water towers, one on the north side of Green Lake, one in the city of Spicer, and one in the city of New London. MVTV Wireless has been a tenant on these 3 water towers since 2020. That was under a 5-year lease agreement. The proposed agreement that's included in your packet would allow MVTV Wireless to continue utilizing the 3 water towers for their communication equipment for additional 5 years. And then at its meeting on October 27th of this year, the Glacial Lakes Commission reviewed the proposed agreement and recommended that it be forwarded to the county board for consideration. So with that, it is the commission's recommendation to authorize the chair, administrator, county attorney to sign the agreement on behalf of the county, entering into a new 5-year lease agreement with MVTV Wireless.
For the recommendation of staff, is there a motion?
I move on a recommendation on the lease with MTV Wireless.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second that, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. And any discussion, questions? All right, hearing none, all in favor of approval of the agreement signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion passes. Corey, thank you. At this time, we're going to have Public Works Director Mel Odens. And Mel, you have several items for us today, yes?
Mr. Chair, members of the board, I do have a few items. The first one is our annual latex maintenance striping that we do. We do 1/3 of the county every year. This year we did the northeast quadrant. We also do we have 16 communities in Wilmer, and we do 15 of the 16. The city of Wilmer does their own. But anyway, so we opened bids on March 11. There were 2 bidders. Sir Lions of Edina was the low bidder. They've completed their work, and they were under the contract bid amount. And so this is accepting the project and authorize the final payment of the 1% retainage of $1,204.46.
Thank you. You've heard the recommendation of the director. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion, Mr. Chair, to accept the project and make a final payment to Sir Lions Lot LLC.
Thank you.
I'll second that.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes.
Next item is the final payment for the trail extension in Spicer from Lake Avenue South, our County Road 10. It goes actually from the intersection by the Dairy Queen, because we did ADA improvements, but the actual path itself starts at Beach Street and goes easterly about 2,000 feet. It's an 8-foot path in 10 feet where it's curbside. So as a minimum, it's an 8-foot path. Incidentally, it was a gap project that we recognized in our trail plan that the city of Spicer actually, when they did a comp plan as well, wanted us to pursue it. And since it was our road, it was our responsibility. It's turned out to be nothing but a good connection. Let me just put it that way. We were a little worried because you're disrupting people's front yards, but actually it's been a positive, very positive thing. So with all that being said, we were a little bit over because we did correct some drainage right at the corner of 8 and Lake Avenue South. We added some extra catch basins and manholes just to get all of that out of the trail. So with that being said, we're happy with the project. They even did it in the heart of the rain event. So it's my recommendation is accept the project and authorize final payment in the amount of $3,256.54 to Asheville Companies out of Cokato.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
So move, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
All right. Any discussion? We did happen to see this on our
Yeah.
Road and
correct.
Bridge Tour, and looks like it was a great project and is well-received, and people are using it all the time, so that's the whole point of it. Anybody else? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. And Mel, one more.
One more, and this is a corridor study, cooperative agreement. This corridor study kind of came on the heels of the Wilmer Y being completed, and then on the heels of us getting the grant to do the bridge over the over the southwest part of town over the railroad tracks. And Burlington Northern and the city of Wilmer, I think primarily where the drivers was Burlington Northern, to just look at all of the whole corridor now that we've kind of got that done. What's the corridor involved in this, primarily in the city, but I will say that we want to do maybe perhaps better planning in the county because we do have a lot of rural crossings. And incidentally, we do spend, you know, Burlington Northern kind of has their plan, and then we have our own 5-year road and bridge plan. Sometimes we don't know about all the things that they're going to do, and they just do it because they do it under force account, under their own forces. So we spent about $230,000 this year just on doing 2 of them, Raymond and then County Road 1 on the Prenzburg Road, which was unplanned, if that makes sense. But we have a good working relationship with Burlington Northern, so we do those. We just do them. But with all that being said, in your packet is a corridor cooperative agreement that would be a 3-way agreement, each 33%, with a maximum of $100,000 apiece. I would be willing to, or recommend including it in my 5-year road and bridge fund because we basically spend it anyway. And so this would be a better planning tool. But what this basically does is it allows us 3 to get together and evaluate the whole corridor. I did hand out a sheet in front of you, and basically what we would envision is if you look on the very bottom, now this would be city-led, okay? We wouldn't be other than more than just a fiscal partner and attend the meetings and be on the committee. But the city would be willing to take the lead. We have 7 potential opportunities that you see above. The 7th one is the one where we would be able to get a better handle on the corridor improvements they want to do in our county on Burlington Northern. So if you go to the very bottom, the next step, there's 11 items, but basically what we would do is form an advisory committee, compromising someone probably from our staff, city staff in Burlington Northern. Provide input. There would be public involvement meetings. We would review existing plans. We would review existing traffic studies. We would put all this in one. Future conditions, and then we would start to see how it goes. And I think what the primary concern is you know, Wilmer is based in Kennewick County Wilmer's a railroad community. And so they want to preserve the natural orderly progression of expansion of Wilmer. Well, when you do that, you know, before it's too late, like County Road 5, you know, like you get stuck by a train. Lakeland Drive, you get stuck by a train. At First Street, they built the bridge over the tracks. But that bridge is getting older and pedestrian, you know, there's issues with pedestrians going over. The small walk bridge in the Sperryville area has been closed. But we don't want to lose sight of, we do need these crossings. And so what is the best solution? And so that's what we're going to try and come up with. But we would do it through public input, public ideas. So my action that I would request to you would be to approve this corridor study cooperative agreement and authorize staff to sign on behalf of the county. And what I also want request, and we can talk about, but that would also allow staff, because then an RFP would go out, a consultant would be selected, and then the administrator could sign that agreement. And then we would also sign an agreement that we would agree to reimburse the city, because they're gonna be the one managing the project. So this is the agreement I have with you, but it spells out the process. So we don't have to keep maybe coming back. And so my recommendation would approve this corridor study cooperative agreement and authorize staff to sign as appropriate on behalf of the county.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
I so move that a motion to proceed with the corridor study cooperative agreement and authorize the staff to sign that.
And the chair will second. Any discussion? Commissioner Imdeck?
Thank you. Mr. Odens is, as the party that's managing this, is there an administrative fee that they will retain or that they will have as an in-kind payment towards?
No. No, we would be equal. I think what we needed one person to do it, and the city of Wilmer has the most, maybe things to figure out, maybe would be the way to say it, you know, with crossing 7th Street, 10th Street, Lakeland, our County Road 5, the spur line going out along Lakeland Drive. And then I need it more for all the crossings all the way down 12 and 23. We have a lot of crossings.
And go ahead, Commissioner Anderson.
So just a clarification, because I thought I heard you say it, but I want to make sure I'm right. So you're going to put this in your budget as part of your budget? It's not going to be an extra fee?
I would put it in my 5-year road and bridge budget.
Okay.
I think this study is gonna take at least 2 years.
Oh, yeah.
And our maximum out is $100,000. We just spent $230,000 unexpected for a railroad that I had to absorb into my road and bridge. This will hopefully level that off a little bit. So I would put 50 in next year and probably 50 in the next.
Okay.
And I would assume that this is going to aid eventually in longer-term planning than what we think. There's not going to be anything immediate coming.
No,
coming out of this.
the intent would be to do a 1 to 2 year plan, a 3 to 5 year plan, and then a long-range plan. And one of the other goals is we are successful in getting $10 million for the Wilmer Y. We are successful in getting $4.8 million for our overpass. If there's other opportunities, we want to make sure the public says, let's do that one, without going through some public vetting process. This will do that.
Commissioner Berg.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is actually very exciting to see a study like this taking place. There's been talk over the years about something being done along those lines. And my question is, can you expand a little bit more on evaluative conceptual alignments or alternatives? And actually, if I understand what you're saying, is that goes from like really doing nothing to building a bridge. I mean, as far as
So what one are you reading on?
on Highway 5, 7, 10, Highway 5,
7th
streets, 7th
Yeah,
Street
so-
and 10th Street, and Lakeland Drive.
Right, so I think it's always tough to start the discussion.
Exactly.
But, you know, we're a railroad community, and we want the railroad to be here, and we want other businesses to be here. Well, other businesses aren't gonna be here if they get stuck. And so the discussion is what do we wanna do about some of these major roads? Lakeland Drive, for instance, it serves this whole area up here that has to get, and so we're gonna pinch all those people on the First Street Bridge. Now, that might be the decision that we come up with, but let's vet this out. Because before this is all developed, maybe Lakeland would be another opportunity. I don't know, you know, with, I hate to say it, but like Burger King's closed, I mean, you got some room there that you could perhaps consider it, but maybe the public just says no. You know what I mean? And so I think the time is let's vet some of this out. Like, how do we build for the future? Because we did that on the west part of town.
Yes.
Mr. Chair, thank you. Yes, I've heard from several people of Lakeland Drive or 7th Street, or, you know, we need a bridge there, or out there on 5. You know, this is going to address those issues as well, if they ever want to go down that route, and it's even cost effective, but it's starting the conversation on this. Just look at it a little bit more seriously than just that people are talking about it. Am I correct?
Yeah, I do, and I do think that there's enough interest in the history of this town with that people would would take time to engage, so.
And we know that MnDOT is going to be having a project in that same east-west corridor through the downtown district. And at the meetings that I was at, that's what they're talking about, is closing down the crossing at 7th Street potentially. Certainly the one at 10th, they want to do without. I think this is just going to help us give a roadmap. We know that BNSF, if they could alleviate all of these crossing concerns, they would be able to bring longer unit trains in through that east-west corridor. And I think that's potentially something that's driving that as well. So I think this is money well spent, and look forward to seeing how all y'all and the community partners come
We'll all
up
be
with
involved.
this. Any other comments? All right, you've heard the recommendation, and we do have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Mel, thank you. Katie Zemer is our Human Resources Director, and we're going to hear on paid family medical leave policy and the employee handbook. Katie, good morning.
Good morning, Commissioners. Katie Zemer, Human Resources Director for Candioi County. I am here to share with you about PFML, or Paid Family Medical Leave. Paid Family Medical Leave is going to take effect January 1 of 2026. It's a state-run program. It provides job protection and partial wage replacement to employees that need to take time off for their serious health condition or a family member's serious health condition. It's going to be funded through employer and employee payroll contributions. For a person to qualify, they have to have earned at least $3,700 in the last year, which is about 5.3% of the state's average annual wage. Some of the reasons someone may qualify for this leave would include bonding with a new child, caring for a family member with a serious health condition, an employee's own serious health condition, military family leave, or safety leave. There are 2 different types of leave under PFML. There's medical leave, and then there is family leave. So an employee is eligible for up to 12 weeks under each one of these for a combined maximum of 20. So you could do 10 and 10 or 12 and 8 for a maximum of up to 20 weeks in a year. The wage replacement is determined by the state, and it's based on an employee's average weekly wage. There is no waiting period. Someone has to be out for 7 days to qualify for this leave, but then they would be retroactively paid for those wages if they're approved. We are proposing that PFML run concurrently with FMLA and Minnesota Parental Leave when the qualifying reason overlaps. So we had the decision to make to either go with the state program or a private insurer for PFML. We did go out for bids for a private plan. There wasn't a cost advantage to go that route, and then also they were requiring that we move different ancillary lines to go with a private insurer. So with that, we made the decision to go with the state-run program. With that, we've got the PFML policy that I am requesting approval on today, in addition to some language change in the handbook to run our FMLA year to look forward rather than backward. So that would reset January 1 as it's always looked back. And to be able to run them concurrently, we would need that year to look forward.
All right. Any questions, or is there a motion?
So move, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. There is a motion to approve the policy as recommended by staff. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Commissioner Mdek?
Thank you. Could you go back to one of the first things you said about, because I didn't see it in here, a person needs to make so much before they would qualify for paid family. What was that number again?
$3,700 in the last year.
The previous year, not the current year that they're making
Correct,
a
yeah,
claim.
they'll look back at the last year.
And so the practical effect of that is if we have someone who is a seasonal or temporary employee, they could potentially be covered by this?
Yeah, there's a few exceptions for people that won't be under it. It's federal, railroad employees, seasonal hospitality workers, but seasonal workers do qualify if they meet those thresholds. And then independent contractors and people that are self-employed, they can choose to opt into the program, but they aren't required to participate in the program where almost every other employer in the state is.
Okay. What we are doing is we are simply complying with state statute on this in the administration of our, of this policy. And we are allowed to run this concurrent with the other benefits, correct?
Yes, yep.
Okay. And I did have some folks talking at a meeting yesterday from some other counties where they had some concerns about language going into negotiations with bargaining units. Have you heard anything on any of that at all, Kelsey? I see you nodding your head, so.
Looking at Katie to respond. We have been in communication with our bargaining units. We have a few left to approve the memorandum of understanding. Those hopefully will all be at the following board meeting on November 18th to ask for approval for that 50-50 contribution. So the union reps are meeting, schedule those meetings with the unions, and then the remaining MOUs will come to board at the next meeting.
So would there be any reason why we would approve this without that contingency that we get the sign-offs, or?
So there is a requirement to get information out to employees within 60 days, and part of that, so the notice for PFML needs to be distributed by December 1st or 30 days, but for the change to the FMLA plan year to start looking forward, that's a 60-day notice. So this information after the policy committee meeting was distributed to employees, letting them know that it would be presented at the board meeting today for approval. But we had to get that out to meet that timing requirement.
Okay.
And if I may then, Katie and I collaboratively have been working with the business agents on this information as well, knowing this policy is coming, knowing we still have to get their MOUs. So the communication has been there that they know this is coming first, and the MOUs will come at the following meeting. Like I said, we have just a few remaining. I think we have 4 groups.
We have 2 MOUs done. We're waiting
Yep.
on 4, and
4,
they're all
yeah.
anticipating their meetings, or the communication's been that it'll be happening in November.
Yeah.
Outstanding. Any other questions? All right, we have a motion and a second to approve the recommendation of staff in regards to this, or do we not?
Yep.
That was a long time ago.
It was a long day, right?
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Katie, thank you so much.
Thank you.
At this time, we are at administrative updates. Administrator Baker, anything for us cover today?
Just to briefly, we have the dates provided below for work sessions or board meetings or TNT or annual conference for kind of the next 2 months. So those are the dates that we have on the calendar. If there is anything that we're missing, please let Melissa or myself know. We had the Fall Parks Committee meeting 2 Fridays ago, October 24th. And we discussed rates, and I'm working with our auditor, treasurer, and finance staff on if we did increase the rates, what would that look like? And so I will be bringing that to board at the next meeting, for the November 18th meeting. So if you do have any questions, I have been working with Dale and Dwayne as the Park Committee commissioners, so I'll be working with them on what that rate increase would possibly look like prior to board. And then I had sent an email out regarding to the county board regarding operating expenses to the budget for 2026. I'll be working on a budget presentation for the November 18th. I was hoping to have it here, but I would like to meet with the commissioners first to really gauge what your concerns are. And so then I'll do that at the 18th. So if you do have any questions regarding the budget or information, please let me know. Other than that, I don't have anything major.
Commissioner Imdahl.
A question about that budget discussion. I understand some changes have been made, or so are we gonna have another discussion at that November 18th meeting? I think it would be a good agenda item to know where those,
What changes are you referring to?
at the last meeting, you said you met with the chair and the vice chair and that you,
That was the email I sent.
or maybe it was the email. So those kind of things, I don't know what those budget changes are, and I think we should have a conversation about what they are.
And I think I would like to echo what the administrator just said. If you have any questions about the budget or any concerns, see what you can get asked and answered ahead of time, so that we can make the best use of our meeting time then moving forward. We certainly want to be able to have plenty of time for discussion, but if you can get most of your stuff asked and answered ahead of time, I think that would be spectacular. Commissioner Imdahl.
Well, this is a significant deal. We approved a preliminary budget a month and a half ago or something like that, and now we're gonna go to truth and taxation in just a few weeks. And so we wanna know, and I think it's productive and helpful to have the conversation at the board level for what those changes are and how they will impact services, number one, and if there's some other opportunities that we should consider.
Yeah, and I hear you on that. I think this is a yes and type of thing. Yes, we should have those discussions, but yes, we should also get our questions asked and answered ahead of time so that we can just be as efficient as possible. And that's all I'm saying. Anything else for us on your updates or anything like that? Then we have a little bit of time. Let's go to report outs. And can we start with Commissioner Berg? Do you have anything that you'd like to cover?
Before we start, are we going back to the last time we did it? Because that's about 3 meetings ago, or just since the last meeting?
Just what's important and timely.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yes, a person could spend a lot of time on this if they wanted to. But on the other hand, I believe most of us kind of know what's happening, and it's kind of old news now, right now. So, but I really do want to just share something that there's going to be on November 12th at Bethesda, Age-Friendly Regional Exchange. And the Area River Agency on Aging is one of the sponsors for this, as well as the City of Wilmer, Bethesda, AARP, and Age Friendly Minnesota. And it's going to be from, I believe, I had 9 down, I'm looking at this now, it says 8:30 to 12:30. But I thought it was 9 to 1, and it includes a free lunch. It has not been publicized much, there has not been much time to do that, but just make everybody aware of it. You can go online, you can Google Age-Friendly Regional Exchange, City of Wilmer, Bethesda, or Area River. Actually, the best place would be to the website for the Agency on Aging website, and there's a registration there. We can just touch on that and register. No charge, but they need registration, I suppose, to plan lunch. And they're going to have a panel exchange as well. So,
anything else that you'd like to bring up?
not right now.
Okay, and yes, I was aware of that, and I did sign up for that, and then I had to schedule an appointment with my eye surgeon over that same date, so I'm gonna miss a couple of other meetings besides that, but we'll get that figured out. Commissioner Dale Anderson.
Just a couple of things. The one thing I wanted to bring up, we had a extension meeting yesterday, and very interesting always to have those meetings. The county has hired a new support staff person. Olivia is our new support staff for that reception area and doing an exceptional job from what I've been hearing. So if you have a minute, stop in and say hi to her. And I think it's a great opportunity for that to grow and become a better program by having somebody in that office at all times. The other thing I just wanted to say, and maybe I'm going to get on my soapbox a little bit, but I didn't say much in the discussion that we had about the Health and Human Services part and the SNAP and all that. But I guess I just want to say thanks to everybody that's worked so hard. It's not only a few people, but I think we've got a lot of staff working very hard on that to make sure that our community is fed and needs are met in the most efficient way that they can be. And I think that it's very important that we support them people and make sure we say thanks if we see them in the hall or see people that are helping. The biggest thing I think I wanted to say is if somebody wants to help, go and support these organizations that are helping. There's many different organizations, as you heard in that discussion, of ways to help. And everybody has an opportunity to reach in their pocket and help out if they want to. So I know I'm on my soapbox a little bit, but it's a good way to help if you want to. And I really want to say thanks for everybody that has worked so hard in our offices to make sure everything has been done right and their needs are being met. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Commissioner Dwayne Anderson.
Okay. So in last couple weeks, I had about 5 board meetings or committee meetings. On the 22nd, there was a AIS task force meeting. Pretty much routine. We're going to be looking at little grants that people are going to apply to or for our committee, and then we'll kind of decide which ones we want to give a little money to help them on lakes, to kind of help them take care of some of the weed issues and invasive species. On the 23rd, I had a UCAP meeting down in Redwood Falls. That was no surprise. They were, talking about the shutdown, and they were giving their updates, which I'm sure are probably outdated by now, and now there's more current updates that we heard today. So otherwise, it was pretty much a regular meeting. The next day was the 24th. That was an open house at the Lofts on 7th. It was opening up those 12 units there so that some people that are in, need a little help to kind of get their feet back under them, they can go there and hopefully stay for a little bit and kind of, hopefully find some better housing in the future or whatever. So it was really a good thing. I know Commissioner Gardner was there, and as well as Corky Berg, the other commissioner. So it was kind of a nice event to go to. Then on the 24th, we had park managers meeting. I think the only big thing was we had a little bit of discussion about like what the daily rates should be, and I guess all the different park managers, they kind of agreed that we could probably go up a little bit, but we just never came up with a number at that time. So hopefully something can get worked out soon. And then yesterday had a broadband meeting for the EDC Broadband Committee, and it was not a lot going on right now, but it was kind of updates on projects that are going on in the county. And so Candy Ojai and Genesee townships are kind of nearing completion. There's still some work left to be done, but hopefully they can start getting hooked up real soon. And it's great to see that there's fiber still going into areas in the county. So that's my update.
Thank you. Commissioner Rimdeck.
I'll tag on to your EDC broadband. I was at an Transportation Alliance meeting yesterday, so I couldn't attend, but I took a rather frustrating phone call from somebody just north of our place of business. He can see from his front yard, fiber going in on one side of him and fiber going in across Highway 71, and frustrated as heck that he doesn't have access to either one of those, 2 different companies within a quarter mile of his residence. And I gave him the best advice I could to do the line extension application, and told him it's really not in our hands to say where those internet service providers should go. I'm gonna go back a little bit further. During the manufacturing week, the KCED hosted a tour, or they didn't host it, they arranged a tour hosted by Relco. That was a pretty amazing tour of the kind of work they do in the dairy industry, making steel dairy processing equipment. In fact, this morning, there's a story in the West Central Tribune about Bongards at Perm, and showing a big piece of equipment, which was likely made there or at Dame Stainless in New London. It was a fascinating tour. On October 3rd was the Highway 23 annual meeting. Some of you were there. On 10/10, we had the AMC Board of Directors meeting in St. Paul, and we addressed same issues that are affecting all the counties statewide, including, you know, the cutoff of the SNAP benefits and MinFib, and then even looking forward to the upcoming session and how we approach. I think the most succinct way I can describe this is there was part of the board that wanted to meet with the legislators with spice, and some of them wanted to meet with the legislators with nice. And so there's a little bit of consternation there about how do you get your message across without burning a bridge and not being able to work with them in the future. At a KCED meeting on October 23rd. On October 24th, three of you, or four of you, I guess, Mel was there too, were at the District 6 meeting in Montevideo, and one of the things that they brought up there, and boy, I've been taking a lot of phone calls, because deer season is this weekend, opening this weekend, is a shotgun rifle discussion that we'll have to deal with over the next few months. And then the Glacial Lake Sanitary Sewer and Water District, Corey was here today, but there's a lot going on out there with that $18 million or something like that, upgrades going on, and they're rushing to beat the weather and get that thing buttoned up as best as possible before the weather really turns bad. Then yesterday, I was at the Transportation Alliance in St. Cloud, and there was some good information there that possibly could, I know the grant that, or the approval we made today for a study, there might be some opportunity for us to mitigate some of our costs in that study based on grants that are available, but time will tell. So that's what I have.
All right. Thank you very much. Just a couple of items that I wanted to touch on very briefly. Of course, several of us were at the AMC District meeting, and that same day, when we got back, there was a ribbon cutting for the Lofts on 7th project, which is the transitional housing across the street from Woodland Centers, the UCAP project that they received a grant for. And so that's going to help house up to 11 family units at a time, or individuals, I would imagine, for temporary housing stabilization. The buildings that they have there are compact units, but they are more than sufficient, and this is intended to help people not have to worry about housing, so that they can worry about the other things that they need to in order to be able to be independent and properly housed in the future. So that was an interesting thing, because I wasn't driving again yet after my eye surgery. And so I was able to walk there, and it just reminded me that for me, it's either an opportunity or an inconvenience at best to hoof it over to an event. But you look at so many people in our community who they're up and down that First Street corridor, up and down every single day, walking to get to places where they can meet their basic needs. And, you know, it is one of those things, there but for the grace of God go I. You know, that I don't have to worry where my next meal is coming from. I don't have to worry about how I'm gonna get around, because either my wife or my friend Commissioner Berg are going to cart me around a little bit when I need that. I have those supports. A lot of the people that we talked about today in this SNAP discussion, they don't have all of those supports that most of us take for granted. So I say this because it irritates me sometimes. When we have this SNAP discussion and we learn that we have over 3,500 enrollees, 50% of them are either senior citizens or under the age of 18, and another 23% of them are age 18 to 64 with a disability. And when I go on social media, God help me, and I look and I see somebody, these people should just go out and get a job, I suggest to those folks, you better find a different meme. Because what we are doing here is we are helping those who need it the most. These are the most vulnerable people in our community. And shame on us if we all don't do our part to take and help these folks. Do better. That's kind of the comment that I wanted to make today. I really appreciate all of you up here today for the robust discussions that we've had and for your individual kindness toward me while I've been dealing with this eye thing. And I just want to thank you all for that. Is there anything else for the good of the order? All right, then we are adjourned. Thank you, everybody.